Welcome to our cozy corner of stories and dreams, where we whisper tales under the soft glow of the moonlight, leading you into a world of gentle slumber. Tonight, as the stars twinkle in the velvet sky, I invite you to join me on a journey into the heart of a forest, to a story filled with wisdom and warmth. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let the worries of the day melt away as we meet a very special friend, a resourceful squirrel who teaches us the importance of planning ahead and the comfort of being prepared. Nestled in the embrace of ancient trees, our furry guide shares tales of foresight, of hidden stashes, and the quiet joy of readiness. As the soothing sounds of the forest surround us, and the gentle rustle of leaves whispers in the breeze, let the squirrel inspire your dreams tonight. Let every word be a stepping stone into a world of tranquility, leading you deeper into the land of sleep. So, snuggle in, let go of the day, and allow the story of the squirrel stash to be your lullaby into the sweetest of dreams. Welcome into our night of storytelling. Chapter 1. The First Leaf Falls. Once upon a time, in a lush meadow bordered by ancient forests and crystal aware streams, the air turned crisp as whispers of autumn danced through the leaves. The meadow was home to a bustling community of creatures, each with their own tasks and tales. But today, they gathered beneath the grandest tree in the meadow, the old oak whose branches stretched towards the sky like the welcoming arms of a wise elder. The reason for this gathering was simple, yet vital, to prepare for the winter that was nipping at the heels of fall. Birds, rabbits, deer, and all manner of creatures shared their plans and pledged to help one another. Amidst this symphony of preparation, there was one who seemed to be ahead of the rest. Sammy, the squirrel, with a bushy tail flicking with excitement. Sammy listened intently to the others, his eyes sparkling with a secret. He had discovered something that could change the winter for all of them. But the time was not yet right to share. An old oak, noticing Sammy's demeanor, nodded in silent understanding. As the gathering came to a close, each animal set off with determination, the lessons of past winters etched in their hearts. But Sammy scampered up the old oak, eager for a moment of solitude to gaze upon his secret stash hidden amongst the leaves. Sam had spent the warm months in a flurry of activity, his tiny paws moving with purpose and precision. He adventured beyond meadow into the forests and fields, collecting nuts, berries, and all manner of delicacies. But Sammy was no ordinary squirrel. He had devised a system of stashes so intricate, so cleverly concealed that none that he could find them. His stash was not merely a pile of food. That was a network of stores, each marked by subtle signs known only to Sammy. Some were buried under layers of leaves, others tucked into the crooks of trees, and still more hidden in plain sight, disguised by the art of misdirection. As Sammy inspected his work, a sense of pride swelled in his chest. He had learned the hard way that winter was unforgiving, and he was determined to face it with more than just hope. His stash was his insurance, a testament to his foresight and hard work. But as he gazed out over the meadow, bathed in the golden light of the setting sun, Sammy's heart stirred with a new resolve. It was not enough to secure his own survival. He wished for the entire meadow to thrive through the winter's chill. The challenge, however, was in convincing them to embrace his methods without revealing all his secrets. Under the starlit sky, Sammy sought the counsel of the old oak, the guardian of the meadow, mouth's history and wisdom. Old Oak listened patiently as Sammy shared his dilemma, his deep voice rumbling softly in the cool night air. Sammy, the old oak began, your heart is as full as your stash, and your intentions pure. The meadow thrives not just on the bounty of the earth, but on the strength of its community. Share your wisdom, but do so in a way that encourages unity and cooperation. Your foresight is a gift not just for you, but for all. Sammy nodded, his resolve strengthened by the old oak's words. He realized that his approach needed to be one of inspiration, not just instruction. He decided to start small, to share tales of his adventures and the lessons he learned, hoping to ignite a spark of preparation in his friends. As dawn broke, painting the meadow in hues of pink and gold, Sammy set off with a new purpose. He knew the road ahead would be challenging, but he was ready to teach, to share, and to help his meadow not just survive the winter, but emerge from it stronger than ever. As the leaves turned from gold to crimson, a sense of urgency swept through the meadow. The creatures worked tirelessly, the preparations for winter becoming more pressing with each passing day. Sammy, with his newfound purpose, shared stories of his travels and the secrets of his stash, inspiring his friends to gather more, to hide their food in clever ways, and to think ahead. But as the meadow hummed with activity, dark clouds gathered on the horizon, a harbinger of an early and fierce winter storm. The wind whispered warnings through the trees, urging the creatures to hasten their efforts. Sammy, sensing the urgency, rallied the meadow's inhabitants. He shared his most crucial secret yet, the importance of having multiple stashes spread out and well-lit to ensure that if one were discovered or spoiled, others would remain to sustain men through the winter. As the first snowflakes fell, a sense of panic could have taken hold, but Sammy's foresight and the amenity of the meadow and creatures turned the tide. Together, they worked through the night, securing their food and reinforcing their shelters, guided by the glow of lantern lights and the strength of their shared purpose. When the storm hit in full force, earlier and harsher than day in memory, the meadow was not unprepared. The creatures huddled in their burrows and nests, the wind howling outside, a test of their resolve and preparations. In the heart of the storm of the meadow, blanketed in snow and the creatures tucked away, Sammy ventured out. He moved from burrow to burrow, his lantern casting a warm glow against the swirling snowflakes, ensuring that everyone was safe and that their stores were secure. At each stop, Sammy shared his story, a lesson of foresight and preparation learned through his adventures. These were not just tales of survival, but of hope and resilience. The creatures listened, their spirits lifted by Sammy's words, realizing that the storm was not just a challenge to endure, but an opportunity to grow stronger together. As the night deepened, Sammy's stories wove a tapestry of community and determination, a reminder that the meadow was more than just a place, but was a family, bound by shared trials and triumphs. When dawn broke, the storm had passed, leaving the meadow transformed. The creatures had emerged to a world of white, The silence of the snow is stark contrast to the howling winds of the night before. They gathered once more beneath the old oak, which stood tall and unbending, its branches heavy with snow. Sammy looked upon his friends, their faces weary but their eyes alight with a new resolve. The storm had been a harsh teacher, but it had imparted a valuable lesson: the importance of preparation and the strength of their community. Together they made a promise to never be caught unprepared again, to share their knowledge and resources, ensuring that no one would face the winter's chill alone. Sammy, with a humble smile, knew that his stash was no longer just his own, but a symbol of the Medadke unity and foresight. As the snow melted and the first hints of spring whispered through the meadow, the creatures looked back on the winter not with bitterness, but with gratitude. They had faced the storm together, and in doing so, had emerged stronger, ready for whatever the future might hold. Chapter 2: A Frost. So warning. With the first hint of frost kissing the meadow, a crisp chill settled over the land, whispering of the winter to come. The animals, bare flinging feathers bristling against the cold, remembered well the lessons of the previous year. It was a memory etched in ice and snow, a reminder of the hardship they had endured and overcome together. In response to the chill, a council was called, a gathering of all the creatures in the heart of the meadow. Beneath it, the sturdy branches of the old oak, this was not just a meeting. It was a testament to their unity, a chance to forge a plan for the winter ahead. Sammy, with his tales of foresight and preparation, was the first to speak. His voice, small but filled with conviction, carried on the wind, reaching every ear. He spoke of the importance of working together, of sharing knowledge and resources, and of the strength found in unity. As the council discussed plans and shared advice, a sudden gust of wind swept through the meadow, colder and sharper than any before. With it came a voice, ethereal and deep, that seemed to come from the very air itself. It was the North Wind, a visitor rare and revered, known to offer guidance and warnings to those who listened. The North Wind spoke of a winter that would test them like no other, of trials that would require more than just preparation but foresight and wisdom. It was a cryptic message, but its meaning was clear. This winter was not to be underestimated. Sammy, inspired by the North Wind's visit, saw an opportunity not just to prepare, but to unite the meadow as never before. He shared stories of his past experiences, of winters harsh and unforgiving, and of the lessons he had learned. He spoke of caches lost and found, of the unexpected bounty nature could provide, and of the importance of always looking ahead. His tales, woven with the wisdom of the old oak and a warning of the North Wind, inspired a new level of cooperation among the creatures. They began to pool their resources, creating a shared stash that was greater than any could manage alone. They shared techniques for gathering and preserving food, for insulating their homes against the cold, and for keeping each other safe and warm. Sammy led by example, his energy and enthusiasm infectious. He showed them hidden nooks and crannies where food could be stored safely, shared his knowledge of which berries lasted longest, and even devised a system for rotating their stores to ensure nothing was wasted. As the days grew shorter and the nights colder, the meadow transformed. Where once there had been individual efforts, now there was a collective endeavor, a shared mission to not just survive the winter, but to thrive. By the time the first deep freeze set in, covering meadow in a blanket of snow, so thick it muffled every sound, the animals were ready. Their shared stash was filled with food, their homes were insulated and warm, and their hearts were united by a bond of shared purpose. The north wind returned then, its chill less biting, its voice softer. It saw what the meadow had achieved, the unity and foresight that Sammy had inspired. It whispered words of approval that carried on the wind, a blessing for the winter to come. In the heart of the coldest nights, when the snow lay heavy upon the land, the creatures of the meadow gathered beneath the stars. There, warmed by the glow of friendship and the strength of their preparations, they shared stories beneath the winter sky, tales of past winters and hopes for the spring to come. A froster's warning had been heeded, and the meadow was ready, a testament to the power of foresight, unity, and the wisdom of a resourceful squirrel named Sammy. Beneath the old oak, the heart of the meadow, a council was convened, a gathering like no other. Creatures of every shape and size made their way through the crisp, frosted grass, their breaths misting in the cold air. The council was a tradition as old as the meadow itself, a time for sharing, planting, and uniting before the grip of winter tightened. Sammy, with his bushy tail and bright eyes, was among the first to arrive, his spirit undampened by the chill. He watched as the meadow filled with the hustle and bustle of creatures, each bringing their own tales of preparation and hopes for the coming months. The old oak, standing tall and majestic, seemed to lean in, its ancient branches providing shelter and warmth. It was more than just a meeting place. It was a symbol of the meadow's strength and unity. As the council began, voices rose and fell in a melody of concern and camaraderie. The creatures shared their fears of the coming winter, remembering the hardships of the past. There was talk of food and shelter, of the young and the old, and of the uncertain times ahead. It was then that the north wind made its presence known, its arrival marked by a sudden drop in temperature and a hush that fell over the council. The wind swirled around the gathering, carrying with it a voice, deep and resonant, that spoke of challenges yet to come, of a winter that would test their reserve and their preparations. The message was clear yet cryptic, leaving the creatures with a sense of unease and urgency. It was a reminder that the meadow was not immune to the whims of nature, that the coming winter would be unlike any they had faced before. Sammy, feeling the weight of the north wind's warning, stepped forward. His voice, steady and sure, cut through the chill air. He spoke of his journeys beyond the meadow, of the lessons learned from winters past, and of the importance of not just preparing, but preparing wisely. He shared tales of hidden caches, burst of floods and of stores spoiled by unexpected warmth. Each story a lesson in foresight and adaptability. Sammy's words, imbued with the wisdom of experience, inspired a new sense of purpose among the council. The creatures, moved by Sammy's tales, began to see the wisdom in his words. They spoke of pooling their resources, of creating a shared stash that would benefit all, regardless of size or strength. Ideas flowed freely, from the smallest mouse to the largest deer, each contributing their knowledge and their skills. Plans were made to gather food together, to create communal stores hidden throughout the meadow, protected from the elements and from prying eyes. They spoke of rotating their supplies, of checking and ringing their caches to ensure that nothing was wasted. As the council drew to a close, a sense of unity filled the air, a bond forged by shared purpose and the looming challenge of the winter ahead. The creatures of the meadow, once concerned with their own survival, now worked together, their efforts synchronized in a dance of preparation and foresight. Sammy, watching the council disperse, felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the sun. He had ignited a spark of cooperation, a flame that would keep the meadow warm through the darkest, coldest nights of winter. As the first true frost of the season settled over the land, the council of creatures, united by the wisdom of a resourceful squirrel and the warning of the north wind, faced the coming winter not as individuals, but as a community ready to withstand whatever the season might bring. In the heart of the council, as the creatures of the meadow shared their fears and plans, the air grew suddenly colder, a sign that was felt by all. The leaves rustled as if whispering secrets, and the sky seemed to darken with anticipation. It was then that the north wind made its presence known, not with fury or storm, but with a chilling gust that silenced the gathering. The creatures, huddled beneath the old oak, watched in awe as the wind coalesced into a form both fearsome and majestic. It was the north wind, a being of ancient power and wisdom, seldom seen but always respected. Its voice, when it spoke, was like the howling of a gale, yet carried the warmth of a gentle breeze. "Why come with a warning?" the north wind said, its voice echoing through the meadow. "The winter that approaches is unlike any you have known. It will test the bounds of your preparation and your unity. But fear not, for within you lies the strength to overcome." The creatures listened, their hearts heavy with the weight of the north wind's words. They had known hardship, yes, but the promise of a winter so fierce was daunting. Standing at the forefront, felt a resolve stir within him. The north wind's visit, though a harbinger of challenge, also brought clarity and purpose. "North wind," Sammy called, his voice steady. "We thank you for your warning. We will heed your words and prepare as we never have before. But we ask, is there wisdom you can share, or way to weather the storm that lies ahead?" The north wind regarded Sammy, its ethereal form shimmering in the fading light. "The key," it said, "lies not in what you gather, but in how you stand together. Unity is your shield against the cold, your light in the darkness. Remember this, and even the harshest winter will pass into spring." With those final words, the north wind dissipated, leaving behind a silence that spoke volumes. The creatures of the meadow, inspired by the visit, felt a renewed sense of urgency and a deepening of their resolve. They understood now that the winter would be a true test of their mettle, but also an opportunity to prove the strength of their community. Sammy, feeling the weight of responsibility, knew that the time for action was now. He rallied the council, his voice imbued with the wisdom of the north wind. "You let us take this warning not as a sentence, but as a challenge. Together, we will prepare, and together, we will endure. Let us start today, for tomorrow the frost may be too deep." The council, united by a common purpose, set to work with a vigor that belied the chill in the air. Plans were made, resources pooled, and promises exchanged. The creatures of the meadow, from the smallest mouse to the largest deer, worked side by side, their efforts a testament to the power of unity. As the day waned and the first stars appeared in the twilight sky, the meadow was transformed. Where once there had been uncertainty, now there was action. Where once there had been fear, now there was hope. The visit from the north wind, though a warning of the trials to come, had ignited a flame of determination within the heart of the meadow. Sammy, watching over the bustling creatures, felt a deep sense of pride. They were more than just a community, they were a family, and together they would face the winter as one, with the north wind's warning etched in their hearts. The creatures of the meadow set forth on their preparations, each day a step towards overcoming the greatest challenge they had ever faced. In the days that followed the north wind's visit, the meadow was a hive of activity, a flurry of motion and purpose. The warning had been clear, and the creatures knew that time was of the essence. It was a scramble unlike any they had experienced before, a great endeavor to prepare for the winter that loomed large on the horizon. Sammy, ever the beacon of foresight and determination, led the charge. He organized groups, each tasked with specific duties. Some were to gather food, venturing into the forests and fields beyond the meadow to collect nuts, berries, and grains. Others focused on fortifying shelters, insulating them against the cold with moss, leaves, and the thick down of dandelions. The beavers, with their skilled tails and sharp teeth, felled trees to build dams and lodges, creating reservoirs that would hold water even in the deepest freeze. The birds, with their wide view of the land, scouted for hidden caches of food that might have been overlooked, their songs keeping spirits high even as the chill deepened. Every creature, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, played a role in the great scramble. The mice and voles dug tunnels and storage chambers beneath the frost line, where the ground would remain soft and the stores safe from the ice. The rabbits, with their strong hind legs, helped to clear paths through the snow, ensuring that everyone could move freely, even when the drifts grew deep. Sammy, in the midst of it all, found himself running from group to group, offering encouragement, sharing tips, and sometimes simply lending a paw. His stash, once a secret known only to him, became a communal treasure, a symbol of their shared effort and mutual support. As the work progressed, the meadow transformed. Where once there had been open spaces, now there were stockpiles of food, carefully marked and hidden. The burrows and nests were snug and warm, the entrances cleverly concealed to keep out the cold. Everywhere looked, there was evidence of the creatures' hard work and determination. But it was not all toil and labor. In the evenings, when the work was done for the day, the creatures gathered to share stories and warmth. Sammy, with his knack for storytelling, regaled them with tales of winters past, of narrow escapes and clever tricks. These stories, filled with laughter and wisdom, became a cherished part of the great scramble, a reminder of why they were all working so hard. The sense of community that had always been a part of the meadow grew stronger with each passing day. The creatures learned to see beyond their differences, to appreciate the strengths of others, and to lend their own strengths in turn. They realized that together they were more than just a collection of individuals. They were a force capable of facing down the harshest winter. As the first true snow of the season began to fall, blanketing the meadow in white, the great scramble drew to a close. The creatures looked around at all they had accomplished, at the stores of food, the fortified shelters, and the network of paths that connected them all. They knew that the winter ahead would be difficult, perhaps the most challenging they had ever faced. But they also knew that they were ready. Sammy, standing beneath the old oak, watched as the snowflakes fell, each one a testament to the cold to come. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction, not just in his own efforts, but a unity and strength of the meadow. They had heeded the north wind's warning, and now, as the winter began in earnest, they stood together, prepared and resolute. The great scramble was over, but the true test was just beginning. As the first heavy blanket of snow enveloped the meadow, transforming its familiar contours into a world of shimmering white, the great scrambler's frantic pace gave way to a quieter, more reflective time. The creatures, now snug in their warm burrows and dens, found themselves with a moment to breathe, to look up at the night sky, where stars twinkled like diamonds scattered across the velvet dark. It was on one such night, clear and cold, that Sammy proposed a gathering unlike any they had held before. "Let us meet beneath the old oak," he suggested, his voice carrying through the crisp air. "Men share stories beneath the stars. Let these tales be our night in the darkness, a reminder of the warmth that comes from being together." The ideas met with enthusiasm. For though their bodies were weary from a work of preparation, their spirits yearned for the companionship and comfort that came from shared tales. And so, wrapped in layers of fur and feather, the creatures of the meadow ventured out into the night, drawn to the old oak like moths to a flame. Beneath its ancient branches, now bare and frosted with snow, they gathered, a circle of friends bound by their journey through the great scramble. A fire was lit, its flames dancing merrily, casting a warm glow that held the night's chill at bay. Sammy, perched on a log with the firelight reflecting in his eyes, began the storytelling. His tales were of adventures and misadventures, of winters long past and the lessons they held. He spoke of a time when he had ventured too far into the forest, caught by a snowstorm that had seemed determined to bury him. But, he recounted with a smile, it was the wisdom of the north wind and the help of a kind gale that had seen him safely home. As Sammy's voice filled the air, others were inspired to share their stories. A deer spoke of the year the meadow had been encased in ice, and how the creatures had banded together to find food and keep each other warm. A rabbit told of a daring escape from a hungry fox, a tale that had the younger members of the gathering wide-eyed with wonder. Each story, whether it sparked laughter or held the group in rapt attention, wove a thread of connection among them. These tales were more than just entertainment. They were a testament to their resilience, a celebration of their collective spirit. As the night deepened, the stars overhead seemed to draw closer, as if to listen to the tales being shared. The creatures, their differences forgotten in the glow of the fire, and the warmth of shared experiences, felt a deep sense of kinship. In these moments, beneath the vast expanse of the night sky, the worries of the coming winter faded. They were reminded that the strength of their community lay not just in the food they had gathered or the shelters they had built, but in the stories they shared, the laughter and the lessons that would see them through the darkest days. As the fire burned into embers, and the first tints of dawn began to lighten the eastern sky, the creatures of the meadow made their way back to their homes, their hearts light with the joy of the night's gathering. They carried with them This tradition, they agreed, would be passed down to the generations, a story told to the young ones not yet born. A story Sammy, who had become something of a sage among the Mida, as the inhabitants, spent his days wandering the paths and burrows. His presence a reminder of the journey I had all Sammy, ever humble, found himself at the center. In the wake of the Festival of Blooms, as the meadow luxuriated in the full glory of spring, a subtle yet profound transformation was taking place. It was a time of new beginnings, of growth, not just As the season turned and the cycle of life continued, the meadow flourished, a vibrant testament to the power of community.